Throughout history, there have been many beliefs about where fairyland might be located. Some people believed it could be found in different places in the British Isles, such as in the mountains of northern Wales, or on an island in the Irish Sea that would mysteriously appear and disappear. According to legend, the fairies who lived there would sometimes visit the mainland to shop in the markets. To the north, it was believed that the fairies resided on the Isle of Man. The Irish referred to it as the enigmatic land of High Brechel. Mariners occasionally stumbled upon it in the far west of the Atlantic Ocean, but were never able to find it again. According to the tales of the Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur, who was close to death, was taken to the Isle of Avalon by 3 fairy queens. It is believed that he is still buried in a fairy hill and will one day emerge to rule again as the once and future king. Morgan Le Fay was one of 3 women who carried the severely injured king to Avalon. During his final days, his lifelong enemy, Morgan Le Fay, provided him with protection and comfort. Her name, Le Fay, means the fairy, and it's attributed to her dual nature, which is a result of her fairy blood. Legend has it that she had the ability to shapeshift at will, transforming into a young or old woman, a beautiful or ugly being, an animal, or any natural object. It was also believed that she could fly. A 12th century romance about Sir Lancelot recounts that his father, King Ban, died of a broken heart after being betrayed by his steward and seeing his castle burned. When Lancelot was born, his mother left him by a lake where she tended to her dying husband. Upon her return, she found the baby being held by a beautiful lady who walked into the lake with the child and vanished. It is said that Lancelot was raised by the fairies. Lancelot was raised by a woman who lived on the top of a hill. She had many beautiful and rich homes in a large and deep forest, and a small river with plenty of fish which flowed beneath it. The location was well hidden and kept secret due to the lake's appearance, which made it difficult for anyone to find. The realm of the fairies can be discovered in various locations, but it's commonly associated with remote and hard-to-reach places, such as islands, like the island of Malachim. In these places, the boundary between the worlds is fragile, allowing beings to move in and out through it. Many religions place islands associated with fairies toward the west, where the sun sets and the afterlife begins. One of the most well-known islands of this sort is Tir Na from Irish mythology. It is similar to the Garden of Eden in the Bible, where there is no sickness, there's no death, there's always pleasant weather, abundant food, no requirement to work. Not all fairies are alike. They live in various places such as forests, hills, lakes, streams, ravines, caves. Their living arrangements also vary, with some living alone or in families, while others live in large groups. The one thing that they all have in common is their wariness and avoidance of humans, except when it benefits them. We should always be careful when interacting with them. Later on in this course, we will discuss domestic fairies, or brownies as they're known, who seem to be helpful household spirits that choose to reside in households. Ancient hill forts, earthworks, and barrows are known to be traditional places where the fairies dwell, connecting them to the gods of extinct cultures. The Gallic term for fairy is she. It's spelled S-I-D-H-E, and it's pronounced she. And this translates to people of the hills. As the legend goes, the she reside within green, curved hills called Scythine. There is a dark passage located in the hill's opening, which leads to either a breathtaking fairy castle or to a beautiful landscape. On certain nights of the year, the hills are illuminated with sparkling lights, and it's advised that humans always avoid them and stay home. At night, people have reported witnessing columns of lights moving across the landscape. It's believed that these lights are a fairy procession traveling from one hill to another. Over time, this procession has formed an invisible network of astral pathways that are particularly strong at the points where they intersect. The fairies are said to have a deep love for music, and it's thought that their songs have influenced many folk tunes. Many people who have listened to their music describe it as light and whimsical with a hint of sadness that suggests a mournful tone. The fairies use their music to express profound longing and sorrow about their declining role in our world. The fairies' music is captivating to humans, and there are many folk tales about people who were lured into the fairy world by the enchanting melodies. However, finding their way back was not easy. It's widely believed that the fairies prefer individuals with musical talent such as singing, dancing, and playing instruments. Consequently, many such people are thought to have disappeared into the fairy realms. Legend has it that those who have been fortunate enough to return from the land of the fairies often describe it as a wondrous place where time seems to stand still. Some claim that they undergo a mystical transformation in the fairy realm, and they're never quite the same when they return to their loved ones. An Irish peasant once explained to the anthropologist Evan Wentz that fairies possess incredible powers that could enchant humans and even transform their physical bodies through magical means. Visits to the land of the fairy are comparable to otherworld journeys undertaken by shamans in tribal societies. These skilled magicians often speak of entering the underworld, encountering spirits, and returning to our world with magical abilities and unique skills. In 1653, a man from Yorkshire was accused of witchcraft because he claimed to use a white powder from fairies to cure illnesses. He had met a well-dressed woman while traveling home one evening who asked him why he looked so sad. After he explained his family's financial troubles, she promised to help him. The woman arranged a meeting the following night, leading the man to a hill where she knocked 3 times on the ground before taking him to a hall where a queen and many others were seated. They were warmly greeted, and the queen asked the woman to teach the man how to use a white powder to heal the sick. As a result, the man's reputation for healing many people in the area led to his acquittal by the judge. Even though we may try to rationalize our encounters with the fairies as mere figments of our imagination or dreams, there's always a lingering sense of strangeness and elusiveness that can't be fully explained. This suggests that there's only a thin line separating our usual state of consciousness from the realm far beyond our understanding. Fairies have the ability to choose when to appear or disappear from mortal view and can be visible to one person but not to another. However, they may sometimes be spotted by humans without their knowledge, particularly during their work or during fairy celebrations. Some people even try to use sneaky methods to find them, which is not advised. The majority of fairy sightings seem to happen at 4 specific times of day: noon, midnight, dawn, and dusk. It's worth noting that the most effective time to break free from fairy enchantments is at dawn. Based on Evan Wentz's account, Mr. Kelly had an encounter while traveling home on a clear moonlit night in the Isle of Man. He heard voices and then felt as though he was surrounded by an invisible throng. The feeling persisted for about a mile, and he didn't experience any fear, excitement, or emotion, but was instead in a state of perfect calm throughout the entire experience. He suddenly felt still and alone, as if his joy and serenity had evaporated along with the unseen presence. He confided in Evan Wentz about similar incidents that convinced him of the existence of fairy creatures. He could not discern whether they were physical or spiritual, but he was certain that they were a genuine type of non-human entity. Believing in fairies suggests the existence of other dimensions and a complex universe known as the Great Chain of Being. This implies a belief in deeper realities and a broad perspective of the mind. Many mystical teachings consider the physical world inherently sacred and rooted in a wider range of subtle energies, which aligns with modern psychics' perspectives. However, physicists interpret the entire universe, visible and invisible, as carrying importance or being, quote, alive, but with a slightly different interpretation from our ancestors. They have developed techniques to better access this profound reality. Understanding the elemental qualities present in nature helps one comprehend the forces known as fairies, elves, and similar beings. In Tibetan mysticism, there are subtle forces called dralas that embody the energies of the material world. These forces can be perceived as a unified power that sustains nature, or as distinct entities. Dralas are said to reside within nature elements like rocks, trees, mountains, and valleys. To tap into these forces, one must attune the perceptions to them. This heightened perception enables the mind to connect with fairies, which have been mentioned in ancient texts. So look forward to future lessons on fairy magic, which will give you some more practical things to do once we cover some more of this theoretical groundwork. Thank you so much for being here. Much love and many, many blessings.